Okay. So today, if I'm not mistaken, it is the second or the third day of Jamakul, right? So today what we'll be doing is we'll quickly recap what we had discussed last time, those 6 or 7 rules which I told you, how to identify or verify a query. And then we'll actually start, I won't say analyzing cases, but detecting cases, okay? So I've selected some around 6 or 7 charts. So we'll take them on and we will start understanding them, okay? So let me just open. Okay, can you see the screen now? Okay. Now, by the way, Shipra, is my mouse being seen? Can you see the mouse move in the thing? You can see that. Okay. So then I'm not keeping the notation on. You can just take the mouse. Okay. So now, last time what we did was this component. Okay. You can see the mouse go around it, right? You can just do this. If you see. Okay. So basically, all this, or rather all these points, are what we use to identify the query. One. And second is get more information out of that situation. Okay. So what I mean by that is, suppose it is related to health. Okay. So in the first instance only, maybe we'll understand that okay, it is related to health. If Mars is approaching the Udayam or Mars is in the Udayam, it's a health case. But health case related to what? What is the cause of it? What is the remedy of that? Why did it happen? If you have to do that, we need to dig deeper. Okay. So all these are actually aimed at frankly speaking the same thing. That is verification of the query. But we dig deeper to get to the crux of the matter. Okay. So I'm just going to run through this quickly. If you all have any doubts over here, you ask me. So first of all, we have to identify the Udayam Lord. So if you see here, this is the Udayam. Okay. Udayam Lord is Saturn. First thing that you have to see is identify the Udayam Lord, identify the houses it is ruling over and where it is seated. 1 minute, just 1 minute. So the first
Manish, मला एक क्वेरी आहे आता इन द बिगिनिंग ओनली, म्हणजे या सब्जेक्टचा अजून तेवढा ग्रास्पला नाही. तर आपलं उदय म्हणजे जे असेंडंट म्हणतो आपण, बरोबर ना? तर तो असेंडंट आपल्या नेहमीच्या ट्रेडिशनल कुंडलीमध्ये क्राउनचं जे हाऊस आहे.
इंग्लिश मध्ये बोल, शिकवायला कळणार नाही.
काय म्हणतोय?
इंग्लिश मध्ये विचार, अर्ध त्या दोघी मुलींना कळणार नाही.
In our traditional Kundali pattern, that Udayan ascendant is necessarily in the crown house, the top house.
Correct.
So how to decide in which house the Udayan is there in this sort of pattern?
No. That is what I said in the first lecture. The major difference between the North Indian and South Indian thing is here the Rashis are fixed. There the houses were fixed. So whichever house came, whichever Rashi came, the first house was the Rashi. Here you have to see this cross sign over here. Can you see this cross line like a cross check?
Yes.
So this means this is a Udayam. Now when this becomes a Udayam, this becomes house number 1. Rashi 1 this year only. I think lecture. So this becomes Rashi, this becomes house number 1, house number 2, house number 3, house number 4. So it goes house number 12 and again house number 1. But the Rashis will remain the same. So there are because you are not used to the South Indian thing. It took me also like a week to grasp it properly. But now I got totally used to it. Okay. Put it out. Should I proceed?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So basically, the first and foremost thing is to identify the Udayam Lord, okay, because that tells you the strength of the question, okay, how valid it is. So if you see this case only, in this case, Saturn is the Udayam Lord, okay. Now once you identify this the Udayam Lord, see which houses it rules and where all it is seated. 2 things. So which house does it rule? So it is ruling this house, which is house number 1. And this house, which is house number 12, because it goes in the anti-clockwise direction. So Udayam becomes first house like Lagna becomes the first house. Your Udayam becomes the first house. So this is your first house. That's why if you see in all my charts, I have myself numbered it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That little black square with the white thing, no, is what the house number is. So Saturn is ruling over this house, which is house number 1 and house number 12. Okay, so you've got 1 and 12 over there. Where is it seated? So basically it is seated your Saturn 87 degrees. So 0 to 30, 0 to 30, 30 to 60, 60 to 90. This is a mistake over there. So Saturn is seated here. So if Saturn is seated here, how many houses away? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so 5. I think I'll do notations on the other one. So where all is it? Where it is seated here. Which houses does it rule? It obviously rules this house. It rules this house. Where is it seated? 87. It is here. So it is ruling this. Correct? Where else is it seated inside? Now I have removed all the internal planets. But we all know that at the moment Saturn is seated in the 10th Rashi. That means it is here again. Correct? Are you understanding what I'm saying? So if we do a connect, what I call as a Saturn connect, we have got 1, we've got 12, we've got another 12, and we have got 5. So this itself tells you a story that Saturn has a connection with 1, 5, 12, 12. Okay. So 5, 1 will obviously happen because it is obviously, if it's a Udayam, it will always be 1, but it has got a connection with 5 and 12, 12. So 12 could either, there are so many permutation combinations which will come up. Now 12 can be hospitalization, it can be some medical expense, it can be foreign settlement, okay, it can be some loss. 5 can be the kid, 5 can be some effort. So many things which come here. Okay, 5 can also be what is called a Purva Punya, something that you have earned, okay, without effort. So if I just remove all this kachra from here, let us just remove this fellow. So basically 5, 12, 12. What does this tell you? 12, 12 over here tells you that there is some compounded effect related to 12. And that 12 is connected to 5. And that 5 is connected to Saturn. So if we connect Saturn with 5 with 12, 12, it can tell so many things. Saturn is legs. Saturn is career. So let's take one option only. Let us not mix it up. 5 is sun. 5 is sun. Saturn is career. And 12 is foreign settlement. So maybe this is a case related that person is asking about his son's foreign settlement. Okay. Now, if we take it further, let me erase all this. If we take it further, we have got this house. We have got this house. We have got this house. We have again got this house. And we have got this house, correct? So let us take the story further now. Now, the next thing that we said was, which is the planet approaching Udayam. Okay. So now Udayam is at 308 degrees. If you understood that the thing goes in the anti-clockwise direction, Jama planet, which Jama planet is approaching? So 3112, if this is Udayam at 308, Sun is at 312, correct? It is before that. So basically, Sun is approaching the Udayam. Though it is in the app, it is shown very differently, but it basically is Sun is approaching the Udayam. Correct? So what have we got additional? So we have got Sun. So if we join the dots, we have got Saturn. Where is that Saturn? This is that Saturn over here. I'll change the color. This is that Saturn. Okay. inside Saturn missing, but inside Saturn is also seated here, like I told you. So Saturn, which is career, 12th house, which is foreign, double strong. Okay. 5th is the house of the child. And Sun. Sun could mean something related to government or something even related to some sort of, what is it called? Actually government only in one way, or some big organization. I'll just stop sharing for a minute. Are you understanding what I'm trying to say? Just that one first point, you are able to draw the story. Okay, after this was just a dummy thing. After this, I will show you some 6-7 live cases where you'll be able to understand how it is. So the thing is, if you just identify the Udayam Lord, who's the Lord of that house, find out where that Udayam Lord is seated, inside and outside. So I'm putting it like this. So this is identify the Udayam Lord, which are the houses it rules over, where is it seated in the Jama planet, where is it seated in the transit planet. So these 5 or 6 will happen. 5 or 6, because if it is sun or moon, you will get only one house. Correct? So if it is sun or moon, you would have identified the Udayam, you would have identified the Udayam Lord, that would be sun. Where is it seated? You would identify that. And which house it rules. So you will only get 4 things if it is sun and moon. If you, and of course, sorry, and the Jama planet, where it is. So 5. In case it is sun, moon, ke alawa kuch hai, to you get a 6th. Clear so far, all of you? Okay. Now, let's go to the next step. Next one was identify the planet approaching Udayam. Okay, so that we understood sun. So we understood the meaning of that. Now next one is identify Udayam to Arudam and Udayam to Kavipu. Okay, 2 things. So what that means is, what this means is Udayam to Arudam. Abhi Arudam kidhar hai? Yahan par hai. Udayam to Kavipu, yahan par hai. Correct? So what is Udayam to? So if this is house number 1, because this is the Udayam, Kavipu becomes house number 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Your Arudam becomes 4. So the distance between the Udayam and the Arudam and the Udayam and the Kavipu also add on to the story. Okay. So what does this mean? That we are talking about that sun who's maybe settling abroad. Okay. And something related to sun, it might be because of the Saturn. Now, if you see, second house is the house of income, is also the house of addition to the family, like marriage. 4th house is house of home and luxuries. Okay. So something it is showing, it is adding to that fellow's either income and luxuries, most probably. It might not be marriage also. Okay. Now, how do we go deeper into this? Basically, if you see, there is snake over here. Okay, before we go to snake, you have to understand one thing. Like I've written here, identify Udayam to Arudam, identify Udayam to Kavipu. See, it might sound a little complex right now, but just believe me, just this much if we do again and again, no, you will master it in no time. Just get the distance from Udayam to Arudam, Udayam to Kavipu. This we did already. Now next, immediately in tandem with that, you have to find out what Kavipu is catching, which house it is seated in, and which planets it is with. Okay. So if you see, this is our Kavipu. No? Kavipu is this Chhatra. So we said that there is a connection between 1st house and 2nd house, and 1st house and 4th house. So wo mil gaya. Now this further the story tells us that Kavipu is seated here in the 2nd house. So it is damaging the 2nd house, some karakatva of the 2nd house. Okay, there is no planet seated along with it. So that is not a problem. So second house might be something related to his income or something related to his possible marriage. Okay, because if you put everything together, we have the Udayam Lord as Saturn, which could be career, or it could also now, if you think of it in a different way, it is bitterness, sadness. Okay, Saturn can also be sadness. So sadness related to career because of going and staying abroad and getting a negative effect on the family. Okay, to further it off, if you see the seventh house, which is the house of the opposite person, has got been a Mercury seated over there. Mercury seated here in the house of Sun. Am I going too fast or you all are understanding? Are you able to understand? कि नहीं समझ में आ रहा है? Chipra not understanding? Chipra is you are looking confused. Chipra, are you understanding or not understanding?
I'm understanding.
Okay. It's slightly difficult, but it's not too difficult. Priti, when you're understanding this, or is it going to?
No, I just went to open the door. There's no one else at home.
That I realized that Bella heard. You're understanding.
I was very clear last time. I have understood this.
Okay. We'll just actually be talking about these 2-3 points only today. Actually,
Only one thing, you keep on saying Kavipu, but it's always written Chhatra there. Why?
Chhatra is Kavipu. In some softwares, they write as Kavipu, in some text Chhatra. So, okay, we'll start calling it Chhatra, but in all my notes now, it is written as K, Kavipu, because when I started off, I heard it as Kavipu. So,
okay, no problem.
Chitra,
So just one thing, Manish. Mercury should be sitting in Virgo, isn't it, instead of Leo?
It should be here.
150
to 180. No, this is a mistake I told you last time only. This actually I should have changed it. Yeah, 0 to 30, 30 to 60 either nahi.
Manish, I was going to tell you that this is causing.
Then give me 1 minute.
Yeah.
Just give me 1 minute. I'll change that in just now because I don't care. You all will get confused. Give me just 30 seconds. I'll pause the recording. Okay, now can you see it? Now it is correct. So it is basically zero to again I made a mistake. This should be 30, 30 to 60, 60 to 90, 90 to 120, 120 to 150, 150 to 180, 180 to 210, 210 to 240, 240 to 270, 270 to 300, 300 to 330, 330 to 360. Correct? So this is wrong. This should be 30. This should be 30 and this should be 60. Or should I change it only? Just give me 1 minute. Okay, now you can see it, right? I finally managed to write it correct. A very basic thing only I got wrong. Now are you clear on this? So wherever we were trying to catch the Udayam to Arudam, Udayam to Kavipu. So the next point which we are going to do is these 2 points. So Udayam to Arudam is 1, 2, 3, 4. Udayam to Kavipu. Sorry.
I think it is you put in the in Gemini 60 and 90 in the same house.
No, it's not like that. It is 0 to 30, 30 to 60, 60 to 90, 90 to 120, like that it is. This Gemini will be 60 to 90, no?
Yeah, that is correct. So 90 to 120 would 90 would come in the lower box.
It is that line. Basically, this is the 90-degree line.
This is the line. Okay.
So it is basically from here to here it is 30. You can write it either side. If you write here or
Oh.
the same thing. It is 60 to 90 is here. No, now it is correct. It's not wrong.
Correct. Okay.
So basically, second thing is we have to get understand these two things. Udayam to Arudam 1, 2, 3, 4. Udayam to Kavipu 1, 2. Kavipu seated in second house. That means it is damaging that house, not destroying the house. Okay. Now Kavipu is catching which one? Kavipu is at 353 over here. Snake is 357 uske upar, and sun is here, so it is actually catching sun. So Kavipu is catching sun. Okay. So the second point what we are seeing here is Udayam to Arudam 4, Udayam to Kavipu 2. So some connection between 2 and 4. Okay. And wherever Kavipu is or Chhatra is sitting, it is damaging that house, damaging the planets which are there with it, but it is destroying the Jama planet which it is catching in the anti-clockwise direction. So it is destroying sun, but it is destroying sun, but it is damaging the second house. इतना ही करते हैं अब तक, and then we'll see the life cases. You want me to recap this entire thing again? Everyone understood
fine.
this? Okay, let me just tell you like this rather than on the chart. What you have to do is, what we are doing right now is, first of all, very important, verifying the question and verifying the potential of the question. Okay, whether that question has got kuch dam hai kya usme, like that in simple words. Okay, so basically, what we do first is we try amongst the 12 things, we first locate the Udayam. Okay, this is the Udayam here. अभी उदयम का क्या देखने का है? उदयम is ruled by the Udayam Lord. So identify who the Udayam Lord is. In this case, it was Saturn. Okay. Second thing is Udayam Lord का status देखने का. Okay. Udayam Lord का status, how will you see? Udayam Lord need not be seated there because that is just the Rashi of that Udayam Lord. So that Udayam Lord, now we saw that in the 10th, 11th house it was the Udayam, right? Just now when we saw it was 11th house Udayam. The Saturn could be seated anywhere. So wherever the Udayam is there, Udayam Lord rules over which houses and is seated where. Correct? Both का दो आ जाएगा mostly. ये इसमें दो आ जाएगा, but एक तो obviously आ जाएगा because that is the house where Udayam is. So that is there. So which all houses it rules and where all it is seated with, where all it is seated in the chart. That tells you one story. Okay. Then next step is Udayam to Arudam, Udayam to Kavipu. Second step. Udayam Lord ka details, Udayam to Arudam, Udayam to Kavipu. Okay, this tells a story. Third one is Kavipu कौन से भाव में बैठा है? It will damage that भाव. किसके साथ बैठा है? It will damage the कारकत्व of the planet. And किसको पकड़ रहा है? It will only पकड़ the Jama planet. तो उसको destroy करेगा. These three things are all that we are doing today. This will get off in 10 minutes, so log back it because I need to show you the examples. You need to log back. So recapping again, because again and again I will tell you, because this has to get registered totally. First of all, Udayam Lord and all the details. Udayam Lord कौन है, कहाँ बैठा है, और कौन से घर का Lord है. Okay, this is one. Second point is Udayam to Arudam, Udayam to Kavipu. Okay. Third thing, Kavipu कहाँ बैठा है, किसके साथ बैठा है, और किसको पकड़ रहा है. You will remember this. Okay. And now, like Arvind Kaka was asking, you have to count the houses from the Udayam. Don't count from first Rashi. Udayam becomes your fulcrum. यहाँ से सब lines will be drawn like this. It is like a diverging thing. इसको ऐसा पकड़ लो, and from here all the lines will get connected. So everything that you do will have to come with respect to Udayam, with respect to Udayam, with respect to Udayam. This house is seated where 10th from Udayam. This planet is seated where 5th from Udayam. Okay, this is one point. And another point what you have to see, which you have to get used to, because that is going to be like a do or die situation. Any planet that you see, immediately try to locate which houses it is ruling over. So let us say, let's say for discussion's sake, I'll show you on the chart only, so maybe it will make it easier. Let's say we are talking about Venus. Okay. Let's say Venus is seated here. I'll write it down. Let's say we are talking about Venus. Venus is seated here. Venus rules over which house? This. I mean, this is the second Rashi and the seventh Rashi. Okay. Now please don't mistake the houses. Okay. Correct? Venus is these two houses. Do we agree with that? Okay. So what is the relation of this with Udayam? It is from here 1, 2, 3, 4, and from here, like I told you, 7, 8, 9. So it is 4, 9 relation with Udayam. So if you have to understand, suppose let us say Venus is coming the 12th house. Okay, so 12th house, 12 to Udayam, right? So 12 to Udayam is some loss or some foreign related thing, something, correct? So when we say, when we have to sort of diagnose this Venus, we have to immediately see where it is seated or where it rules. So basically it rules over this house, which is the 1, 2, 3, 4th from here. And it rules over this house, which like I said, you directly jump the diagonal 7, 8, 9. So there is some connection between 4 and 9 vis-a-vis the Venus. Clear on that? So
Just one thing. Why we were paying attention to Venus?
Not Venus. What I said before that was you have to get used to one important technique. Any planet that you are trying to analyze, okay, uska lordship kahan par hai with respect to the Udayam. Because what will happen, I'll tell you. Let us say you're talking about this and you're trying to find out the cause behind it. Okay, we actually in this dig very deep. These people, I don't think dig that deep. I'm not so sure about that, but they only yes, no karke chhod dete. I want to dig deeper. So if let us say, I just give an example. Let us say Venus was seated in the 12th house. So just now we saw that Saturn, 5th house, ye sab kiya tha. So we are thinking that it is something related to Sun, something related to Sun's career, something related to Sun's career with foreign settlement. So I don't know, it just came to my mind Venus and I put it in the 12th house. So if you remember, Kavipu was seated in the 2nd house and damaging Sun. So 2nd house is addition to the family also. So it could be marriage. And if Venus is seated in the 12th house, Venus seated in the 12th house is the house of loss or house of foreign settlement. Now see how it works out. Venus is the wife of this kid, seated in the 12th house of foreign settlement. And Venus is ruling over 4th house and 9th house, just now we saw. Just now that sketch what I done. 4th house is a house of home atmosphere. 9th house is the Bhagyasthan. So maybe this fellow will get his wife abroad. You understand this? All this now, see how it goes deeper, 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 deeper. It just started off with Saturn over there. So career. Career is the 4th house or 5th house connected. So child. I say, okay, we went deeper. Okay. And then we realized that Venus, if it is seated in the 12th house to the Udayam, could mean some financial loss also. Venus is Lakshmi. But we see it from a different angle. Venus could be this fellow's wife, 12th house of foreign settlement. Correct? 4th house, Venus was ruling over 4 and 9. So home atmosphere and Bhagya. So iska Bhagya per se, his wife is abroad. Chitra, you're looking confused. Are you understanding or no? Nitiban understood? Dilipaka understood? Chitra, you're looking confused.
No, I understood.
I'll make it very simple. Why I initiated this was the only single line what I said was the exercise that you're going to be doing now for the next 1 week or whatever it is. One is what I'm going to show you just now. This exercise is different. But one more thing which comes to my mind which is very important. Any chart you open, just pick up any orbit planet and see which houses it rules. First, simple. Itna karo. Don't try to analyze. Like I told you, till I tell you to analyze, you're not going to analyze it. You're just going to be doing donkey work as a body. But this is not donkey work. This is actually the foundation. So, koi chart follow. We will do it just now. Just now, when we see the live charts after this thing restart, I am going to show you 6 or 7 live charts. In that, I will show you this example also. But this exercise you have to do. So each of the charts, we will catch each of the planets and see where it rules. So when you see a planet and you get the connection with the Udayam or the Udayam Lord, you understand the connection. And then this fellow rules which houses. So it tells you uska connection per se what? Like that. Prithipan, is it going to complicate it? Okay? You're muted. No, muted.
Sorry?
I said, is it going to complicate it like that?
No.
Actually, इतना भी समझ में आया ना तो काफी खोज सकते हैं. ना शिप्रा, what?
The second house,
हाँ.
how is it connected to marriage? I thought 7th house would be connected to.
Second house, 7th house, 6th house, 8th house, 11th house are all connected to marriage. Even 9th house. Second house is basically addition to family. So even if that person is having a kid, that becomes addition to family. If that person is getting married, that lady, if it's a guy, then the girl becomes addition to the family. For a girl, even in Lal Kitab, second house is called Sasural. So for a girl, second house becomes Sasural. For a guy, it becomes addition to the family because that girl is coming to the house. 7th house is the house of marriage. 6th house is the house of disruption of marriage. 8th house is the house of separation. 9th house is the house of Bhagya. For a girl, actually, that is also considered this thing. 3rd house is the house of documentation related to marriage. 11th house is the Ichha Purti or the this thing related to marriage. 12th house is also in a way related to marriage. So, वैसा देखा जाए तो all the houses are connected. 5th house is also the future of marriage, the kids that you have. 4th house is the house of home atmosphere, which is also connected to the marriage. Make or break हो सकता है. 10th house is the status, so status related to marriage. Actually, if you go to see now, all the 12 houses are connected only. Like if you say 9th house is the house of father, 10th house is the house of income of the father ka second house, or father ke family ka house. 3rd house, that's what you are not there that time. I have made one chart where there are 54,000 permutation combinations you can make. Okay. So everything is connected. So you don't just stick to one this thing. If there is some, you're muted. I can't hear you.
No, I said it would be nice to see that chart.
I'll share it with you. I'll share it with you. This is going off now. So I'll just stop. We log back in. Come back in.
Let's log in again.
Okay. So